This is my audience. According to Melanie Hansen in Student Loan Debt Statistics, the total student loan debt in the United States as of April 1st, 2023 is approximately $1.76 trillion. When considering public and private loans, this averages out to be about $40,000 per person. The U.S. student loan debt crisis has gotten out of hand, and this nightmare will continue unless we radically change the way we go about post-secondary education. Contrary to popular belief, the student loan debt crisis affects everyone. Not only does it cripple direct borrowers, but it also has a negative impact on the entire economy. In other words, even if you've already paid off your student loans or you never took out loans for your education in the first place, this crisis can still affect you. As someone who is majoring in finance and wants to eventually become a personal financial advisor, I understand that I will likely be dealing with people who are struggling with debt, especially student loans. I've done extensive research about this topic so that I can better understand the student loan debt crisis and how it affects my clients so that I can better serve them. Today, I will be discussing why the student loan debt crisis is such an issue in the United States, as well as a potential solution that could help combat the crisis. So first, I will be discussing why the student loan debt crisis is such an issue. The student loan debt crisis affects society in two main ways. First, it directly affects people. According to Investopedia.com, the definition of bankruptcy is a legal proceeding that is initiated when a person or business is unable to repay outstanding debts. When people have tried all means to pay off their debts, they can at least rely on bankruptcy for some relief. However, in a New York Times article, Tara Siegel-Bernard expresses that unlike other consumer debts, student loans aren't automatically wiped away in bankruptcy. It's stressful, costly, and notoriously difficult to meet the strict legal tests to succeed. In other words, once someone signs up for a student loan, they are practically stuck with it for life. People who are already struggling financially are forced to invest more money and time to try to bankrupt a student loan, and even then, it is rare that their effort will be successful. Student loans also affect people's mental health. In this YouTube video that I'm about to show you, the speaker expresses some alarming statistics about how student loans can affect the mental well-being of people.
Suicidal ideation at a rate that was more than 2.5 times as high as people who owed less than what they earned. That's quite a startling result. Other things that we found in this survey, we found that 1 in 8 unemployed people or people with less than $50,000 of income had suicidal ideation due to student loan debt. We found that 1 in 6 single women earning less than $50,000 had suicidal ideation due to student loan debt. We also found that
as you can see, people with student loans are more likely to have suicidal ideation, especially if they have a poor debt-to-income ratio. Also, single women with student loans are more likely to have thoughts of suicide since they feel unsupported. The article Financial Education Benefit Center, The Hopelessness of Student Loan Debt Impacts Mental Health expresses that student loan debt darkens the future for borrowers even more than normal debt since it is not dischargeable, and this despair stresses coping abilities of borrowers, possibly aggravating underlying mental health issues. Reflecting back to my point on bankruptcy, when people cannot even get rid of these student loans through a legal process, it can make them feel hopeless and trigger pre-existing mental health issues. Student loan debt also tends to impact certain groups of people. In this chart from the U.S. Department of Education, 90% of African American undergrad students aged 18 to 24 have student loans. The next most affected group is Latino students with 72%, then white students with 66%, and the least affected group is Asian Americans with 51%. As you can see, African American and Latino students tend to be more affected by student loan debt than their white and Asian American counterparts. According to PBS.org, African Americans may be disproportionately affected because of wage and employment inequities. African Americans tend to experience a higher unemployment rate than other demographics. They may also get paid less for the same jobs. Both of these are reasons why they stay in student loan debt and are more likely to default on their student loans. Student loan debt also negatively impacts the economy. According to Melanie Hansen in Economic Effects of Student Loan Debt, there are three main ways that the student debt crisis affects the economy. First, it slows down. First, people are less likely to purchase things, which slows down the economy. 18% of student loan holders find it difficult to buy basic necessities because of their student loans. When people lack disposable income, consumer spending decreases. Businesses then slow down their production and workers are more likely to be fired, and then the unemployment rate increases. Student loan debt also impacts the housing market. People with student loans are likely to have lower credit scores, and this can make housing unaffordable because people with lower credit scores tend to get the worst interest rates. Student loan debt also stresses social programs. 1 out of every 7 recipients of food stamps holds a college degree. We can infer that a lot of people with student loan debt are having a hard time affording their basic necessities. These social programs can be stretched too thin because of the student loan debt crisis. Now I will be discussing a potential solution to this crisis. In my opinion, one of the best solutions would be a federal policy that gives free college tuition at public universities in the state in which a student resides. For example, a student living in Tennessee would be able to go to any of the public universities in Tennessee tuition free. According to the commentary of Morley Winograd and Max Lubin in Tuition-Free College is critical to our economy. From the few free college tuition programs that have already been enacted, one of the benefits is a lesser need for student loans. Tuition is one of the main factors that leads people to take out student loans. If a policy like this was implemented on a larger scale, it could potentially slow down the current rate of borrowing and keep the total debt from increasing at the current rate that it is. This policy would also benefit the economy. According to Khan Academy, the GI Bill that was enacted for returning war veterans had benefits such as free tuition. When the cost barrier was removed, more veterans attended college, got high-paying jobs, and didn't have to go into debt to do it. This gave them more purchasing power to be able to boost the economy. If a similar policy was enacted on a larger scale, it would benefit the economy because there would be a decreased unemployment rate as well as more consumption. So as you can see, a policy like mine would benefit both individuals and the economy. Today, I have discussed some of the reasons why the student loan debt crisis is an issue, as well as a specific policy that could potentially keep the crisis from getting worse. Remember that this affects everyone, so even if you've never taken out student loans or you have already paid them off, this can still affect you. So remember that we need to do better for our future generations, and that's why we need to solve this problem. Here's my audience again.